Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Todd Talks, special Halloween version here. Um, also want to remind everyone, we have so much going on with America 250, especially here in Ohio. We requested that we turn back the clock an hour. So this weekend, we're going to turn back the clock an hour. So we need that extra hour of planning time. So wanted to let you know about that too. Um, Also, for those of you who have joined us in the past for Todd Talks, you probably know this is sort of a very informal time, sort of like office hours about what are some of the things going on with America 250 Ohio. We've been doing this all throughout 2025. We're going to wrap it up with our final version of Todd Talks on December 5th. When we get to 2026, there's going to be just so much going on. Um, so we'll find other ways to help communicate what's happening with the commission. So thanks everyone for joining us on this Friday afternoon. Okay, I want to start off by giving a couple of updates about what's happening at the national level with the National America 250 Commission. The big thing they're promoting right now at the national level is the America's Field Trip. So if you're not familiar with that, the idea is to encourage students across America to submit essays about what it means to be an American. This is grades 3 through 12. So there's plenty of time to submit. We want to make sure we get some Ohioans in the mix here. We have had first and second place finishers the first 2 years of the program. This is year 3 for America's Field Trip. For the 2026 version, there will be 125 students chosen for first place winners and 125 chosen for second place. The grand prize winners, first place winners, will have some incredible behind the scenes field trip experience for that student and a parent. So that'll be going on, I think, through the spring of next year. So keep your eyes on America's Field Trip. Also underway is something called Our American Story. And so what they're doing is they have um, a the vehicle I'm trying to think of is an Airstream. Yes, an Airstream vehicle traveling the United States. Capturing stories from Americans, and that will be traveling to Ohio at some point. We're not quite sure yet of the timing of that, but keep your eyes on Our American Story, especially with those Ohio-made Airstreams. There's also other projects underway. America Gives is one. That's where they're trying to incentivize volunteerism across the country. So lots more going on at the national level. You can check that out at america250.org to find out more about what's happening at the national level. Another thing happening at the national level is the upcoming The American Revolution Ken Burns special that will premiere on PBS starting November 16. That's a Sunday, and it will go for 6 consecutive evenings from 8 until 10 p.m. So 6 2-hour episodes. So it's a very deep dive into the American Revolution. If you're familiar with Ken Burns and the great work he's done with PBS over the years, this will be no small undertaking. They've been working on this for many years, and we've had the opportunity to hear from Ken Burns and his co-producers, who were Sarah Botstein and David Schmidt. We actually hosted David Schmidt in Cincinnati a couple of weeks ago. So really looking forward to that. Make sure to mark your calendars starting November 16 for the Ken Burns, The American Revolution coming up. Also wanted to mention, we have been doing periodic webinars here in Ohio, focusing on, what was happening in and around the Ohio country around the time of the 18th century and the era of 1776. So our next webinar will be held on the evening of November 13th. So if you are able to join us for that, I think we can probably put the link in the chat here. That's a Thursday evening from 7 p.m. until 8:15. So this will be episode number 4. We kicked this off earlier this year, and we're excited to be at the American Revolution in the chronology of this Ohio in the Revolution effort. So we'll be talking about that specific era, right around the time of the Revolution at the one coming up November 13th. Hope you can join us. All right. Also in November, there's a lot going on in November this year. We have so far 3 Trails and Tales that are, we're working with the Ohio Travel Association and lots of other partners. A lot of the CVBs have been participating in our program of driving trails themed to big ways that Ohio contributed to the United States. We've got 3 driving trails so far. The first one was launched last year or in 2024 to air and space. Our second one was focused on creativity, and just in August we launched our third one themed to the Lake Erie and the Ohio River Trail and the canals that connected them. And so on November 18th in Dayton, we will be launching our 4th one focused on innovation. So the Innovation Trail will be launched November 18 at Carillon Park in Dayton, Ohio. Hope you can join us for that. That event will begin at 2 p.m. that day. If you're anywhere near Dayton, I hope you'll join us. Also, wanted to point out to you, I'm a big fan of Ohio Magazine, and if you are on this, if you're joining us today, I'll bet that you are as well. So if you're not already familiar with Ohio Magazine, the one that just is hitting the shelves, I think this week, it's on the cover, it focuses on Ohio's best hometowns, but within there you'll find a 40-page insert about America 250 Ohio, lots of different communities that are participating in that, some great content focusing on several of the programs and projects of America 250 Ohio. So be sure to check out that commemorative issue, which is for, I think it's the November. No, it's the November-December issue. So be sure to check out Ohio Magazine if you get a chance. If you don't have that or have trouble accessing it, please be sure to contact us at the commission. We'd be happy to send you one. All right. Although I've announced this before, I hope you're familiar with our online calendar that just went up, I think, within the last month or so. So on the America250ohio.org website, in the middle top of our web page, you can find an events calendar, and we're so grateful to our local partners that have been sharing information about events and activities that they're doing all around the state. So be sure to check that out, both if you are interested in attending some of those events, but also if your organization is among those that is making plans. You can submit your upcoming events all throughout 2026. So if you have any questions, be sure to let us know, but hope you'll check out that online calendar. So lots of other things going on. We are planting some trees. We are in the process of adding content to things like murals across Ohio. We're very grateful to our partners at the Ohio Arts Council for helping drive that. There's I think more than 200 murals that are almost 200, almost 300. Wow. Okay, that's amazing. Murals that already exist around Ohio that are themed in some way to either America or civic pride here in Ohio. So be sure to check out Murals Across Ohio if you're not already familiar with it. Of course, we're getting close to 2026. All things America 250 nationally and across Ohio. Want to remind you about our monthly themes. Hopefully you're familiar with that. You can find out more on our website. And I think those are some of the highlights I wanted to touch on. So we thought we'd give some time for questions coming through. So why don't I pause there and see if we have some questions from some of you. Okay, so if you have a question, why don't you go ahead and raise your hand on your screen if you would. And we'll just we'll unmute you if you have a question. Or you can put it in the chat. Let's see. Looks like there is.
Elaine Naples just raised her hand.
Okay. Elaine and Bucyrus. Let's see. Let's see if we can unmute you real quick, Elaine. We're working to unmute you, Elaine. So we promise we're not just trying to silence you. Okay, Elaine, it looks like while we're working on that, could you put your question in the chat? Sorry about that. Okay, anything new on homecoming picnics for America 250 Ohio? Well, I know there's a lot of planning going on. There are community picnics that are in the works. I know some of my colleagues might be on this, and I'm not aware of any major updates to give on that one, but why don't I see if any of my colleagues have anything to add to that? Okay. And if you're not already familiar with homecoming and picnics, that's our July 2026 theme. We do have several bigger signature picnics in the works, but we're encouraging and incentivizing picnics to happen all over the state. So you can find out more on our website. Let's see, do we have any additional updates about potential promotional items that will be sold through an America 250 Ohio store? Let me mute myself and ask if my colleague Chris Hurtubise can weigh in on that.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for your question about America 250 Ohio information, or sorry, merchandise. So we are going to be partnering with the Ohio State University's licensing department. And right now the agreement is being reviewed by their legal team. Once that has been reviewed, then we have vendors who are ready to start working through Ohio State University's licensing department to get approval to sell products with the license, with the logo on it. Once that is ready to go, then we will basically point from our website to those vendors who will likely be able to do both wholesale and also retail purchase opportunities. Some of the things that are being looked at are t-shirts and hoodies, tote bags. We have a home decorative item that is already ready to go once we get the agreement, and also a flag through the Flag Lady. So we have several things that we think will be available. I would say probably safest to plan on January. I'd love to have it out for the holidays, but it just depends on the speed at which Ohio State and the vendors can move. Hope that answers your question. Thanks.
Okay, I see another question here. Are we partnering with any print vendors to use the power of volume to get better pricing? I'll ask if Chris can weigh in on this one again.
It might depend on what you're looking to print. So at this time, we're mostly focusing on things that we're printing ourselves. But one of the things that we've been talking about is creating some templates for things where partners, communities could have things printed, like banners or so forth. So depending on interest, sometimes it's just as effective to have it done locally. So if you want to get in touch with me, I'll put in my email in the chat we can talk more specifically about what you're looking for to make sure we can help you out.
Thanks, Chris. Question from Susan here. For the monthly themes, are we supposed to celebrate locally, or do we submit them to you to add to the collective? For example, Ohio First. If you have a person event that qualifies as a first, do we submit to you or just celebrate it locally? So I think it's going to be a bit of both, but I should maybe just turn this whole thing over to Chris to ask her to, she'll be better positioned probably to answer this.
Well, I have the opportunity to work with Dr. Lacey Bonner Hall, who is our theme months coordinator. And I don't know if Lacey's on today, so I will speak on her behalf. So we would love to know about what you're planning for any of the theme months. Absolutely, we'd love to share that on our calendar. Oh, I know. Okay, Lacey, I'm sorry. I couldn't figure out how to unmute everybody. You can blame me for that. So I'll put in the chat Lacey's email address so you can have a chat with her directly. And then, yes, if you have an event related to any of the theme months, please put it in our calendar. And I put in the chat, I put the address for that. And then after this event, I'll send everybody a link to the recording as well as a transcript so you can see those different links. And we would love to know more about that. So please, promote it yourself, celebrate locally, but please let us know. We absolutely want to share that. Thank you.
Okay, another question is, do we know if there are any America 250 nationally themed concerts planned at the state or national level? We'll be doing some things to help celebrate music in the May theme of 2026 here in Ohio. And I'm certain that there are going to be things also nationally going on. I don't know of any off the top of my head. But I think, yeah, keep an eye on that. And as we get closer to 2026 and things that are planned, we'll be sure to be sharing this information. Any other questions? See. Okay.
Oh, it looks like
Okay. Yeah, Elaine is asking about Flag Day celebrations at the state level. One of the things we can point to is there is an organization called the National Flag Foundation that is headquartered in Pittsburgh, and they are encouraging Americans and organizations across the country to simply fly a flag at your home, at your place of work, civic buildings, etc., and to wherever possible to have buildings lit red, white, and blue on and around the time of July 4th next year. Certainly, there will be lots going on with flags in 2026. The National Commission is having something called Flag Sojourn, SOJOURN. Perhaps someone can put that in a link to that in the chat, perhaps. So there's a couple of things with that. There is a flag that is traveling the world. I think it went to a lot of the U.S. national cemeteries that are overseas, and I believe it is now making its way, being escorted across the country. Certainly when we learn of it coming to Ohio, we'll be sharing that out. And then they're also going to, as I understand it, create the largest flag, the largest American flag that will break the world record. And that will be, it's my understanding, it will be displayed on the National Mall next year during the July 4th weekend. So take a look at that when you get a chance. And then I think there's going to be lots of other Flag Day celebrations, Elaine, next year, and we'll keep our eyes open for that. Let's see, I see a question from John in Kettering, our local Optimist Club is a flag rental program. Sign up with them and they place flags in your yard for patriotic holidays, several levels of service. Okay, thanks for sharing that, John. Any other questions? Yeah, keep it coming.
What did you want in the chat just now?
All right. Any other questions? I think for the National Sojourn, I don't know if they have it up on their website yet, but I think we've got plenty of time, so we'll be sure to share more on that when we get a little closer. Okay, I saw something about the Liberty Bell. Will it be on tour in Ohio? That is a great question. So Dan, I'm not sure about that. We have shared information about when the Liberty Bell did travel to Ohio in years past. I think Chris Hurtubise might have some perspective on that, so I'm going to ask Chris to weigh in.
So I don't know if it's about the Liberty Bell specifically, but we did hear recently on a call with National that they or the White House, I'm not going to remember exactly, so forgive me for that, are creating what they're calling freedom trucks, which will be 5 semi-sized, tractor trailer sized exhibits that will travel the country in 2026. This is very similar and inspired by the Freedom Train concept from 1976. We don't have any details yet on, when it would come to Ohio. As soon as we know, we'll share. But well, it won't probably have the Liberty Bell on it. It reminded me of things like that, where there'll be, things that help tell the story of the United States and, important moments. I don't know if it'll include artifacts or not. I would kind of guess not, just because there's 5 of them. But that could be something. And then we'll look into the Liberty Bell. I just quickly Googled it and I didn't see anything. And it's never come up on a conversation that we've had with National, but we can also reach out to them to ask as well. And then Susan just asked a question.
Now that I think of it, I think if the Buckeyes beat Penn State this weekend, I think they should send the Liberty Bell to Ohio. I'm just saying. Okay. All right. Gotta squeeze in a dad joke wherever I can. Okay, from Susan. I got my city to do their second reading on passing the resolution for 250 and becoming a community. Great. Can we still use the branding in the interim, or is that when we pass the resolution? Once again, it's a Chris Hurtubise question. I'll pass the mic to her.
Susan, we should be able to get you what you need as soon as you pass it. That's typically what we wait for, and that allows us to go through the kind of formal paperwork. One of those is we have to request the logo to be updated with your community name, but also then you'll get your flag and your toolkits. So as soon as you get done and you submit your resolution, we'll get you what you need. Thanks for asking.
Fantastic. Who else has questions for me or Chris? Great conversation. So appreciate everybody's interest and participation in this. Okay. Well, I don't want to keep us any longer than needed. Just a reminder again, the December 5th Todd Talks will be the last one here, and we appreciate you logging in today to find out more about what's happening here at the state level. If I don't talk to you or see you beforehand, I want to wish all of our military veterans a happy Veterans Day on the 11th of November. And don't forget about some of the other things coming up. We got an event in Carillon Park. You got Ken Burns coming up. And we have the Ohio in the Revolution webinar on November 13th. If you have any questions after the meeting, by all means, reach out to us. Let us know. You can find out most things on our website, america250ohio.org. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy Halloween. Bye.